Hello everyone, welcome back to the OverSeers. I'm your host Proelios and we have a lot to talk about today. We had an off week from the Overwatch League. There were no games played at all, which I'm sure was a much needed break for all of the teams involved. But there were some roster moves that we still haven't discussed on this channel, so we're going to start off talking about those. Then after those, we'll move on and talk about some of the matches that are going to take place next week. And after that, we'll just quickly touch upon some information that's been released about the postseason playoffs. And yeah, that's the plan for the video. So let's start things off with the roster moves then. The first one being that the Gladiators have parted ways with Ants. And I know a lot of Ants fans and a lot of ex-Shock fans, I'm sure, must be really surprised by this news because Ants was one of the biggest DPS stars, or one of the biggest stars in general in the Overwatch League in Season 3 back when he was a rookie. And naturally, his hit scan talent was unparalleled on those snipers. You know, his Widowmaker, like, especially the Widowmaker, honestly, and to some extent his Ashe, were just really good. And this season he hit a bit of a slump, mainly because there wasn't much of an opportunity for him to consistently play Widowmaker. He had to play a bunch of Soldier, he had to play some Sojourn, um, and some Ashe as well. And honestly, he doesn't really live up to like his potential on any hero other than Widow at this point. So I can see why the Gladiators parted ways with him, especially when they signed a more well-rounded player like Happy. Sure, Happy might not be like the exact, I guess, Widow specialist that they would have wanted on the team. But I think right now in Overwatch 2, you need a more rounded player. And honestly, there's nothing wrong, like, there's nothing lacking in Happy's Widowmaker either. He's like one of the best Widows in the league still. And we know that he can also play a really good Sojourn and Ashe and Soldier and whatever hit scan is needed. He can even flex to the Tracer and Sombra if needed. So I think this was a good move by the Gladiators. This way, they just have more of an overall idea of in what direction they want to continue building the team in this new Overwatch 2 era. So yeah, all in all a positive move, but I do hope Ans finds a good team. I do think there are some opportunities for him to find a team in the league. Um, I think if he's up for it, then probably a team like the NYXL would be happy to, sign him. Because I don't think they have a Widow specialist. Like they do have Flora on the hit scan, but once again, like if they just want a minimum salary pickup, I think Ants might be up for it at this point. Don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let's talk about some moves in the APAC region next. Starting off with the LA Valiant, who parted ways with their head coach Nohil and promoted assistant coach Haruhi to his position. So again, there like Nohil, I think has a very like polarizing audience when it comes to Overwatch League fans, because some of them had like extreme hope in him back from his contenders days. You know, he was playing, like he was coaching for Team CC, and he had a vision for the team, and like the team absolutely popped off for like a year and even more. So yeah, I think the kind of hopium in him was justified. Like even I was super high on him when the league was going to start, but then the Valiant have been like quite lackluster. I think because they just haven't had any consistent showings, and like honestly, you even though you can kind of expect their level of play, I think they have just like, kind of let their fans down once again, although not to the level that they did last year. So I guess good job there. But definitely, if the team wants to step it up, they needed to get rid of any kind of coaching issues they had. And there were rumors of, Nohil asking kind of players to pitch in to get other players to be on board. Uh, like they were just PayPaling other players and getting them to, join at something higher than the minimum wage. I say minimum wage, minimum salary is the right term there. But yeah, I mean, I think if the organization thought he was the problem, then might as well get rid of him and give the assistant coach a shot. I don't think there's too much that can go wrong over here because the Valiant don't really have playoff hopes. Um, at least at the moment, I think they are in like the lower half of APAC teams, not having qualified for a single playoff run. So yeah, that's that. All right, next up, the Hangzhou Spark have made a pretty interesting set of moves. Firstly, they have made the assistant coach Neko a support player again. And for those Overwatch League Zoomers in our audience, Neko used to be a flex support player. He used to play for the Boston Uprising, then joined the Toronto Defiant, and then he retired. And um, yeah, now he's back for the Spark, whom he's been coaching for a while. And I don't fully understand the move because they do have a stable flex support in Iony. That is seemingly how you pronounce it. It's not irony, by the way. So they have Iony and they also have Super Rich on main support. So it's not like they're missing a slot, but I'm guessing they either have communication issues or someone on the team isn't comfortable playing with the rest of the squad. Either that or they just don't think either Super Rich or Iony are doing a good enough job. So there are many reasons for this. No point in like speculating about, but yeah, I don't really know how this will affect the team because I don't know how well Neko plays at the moment. So yeah, but the other change on the team is the signing of Teru as a flex DPS, and once again, Teru is an ex-Overwatch League player. I mean, he was with the Vancouver Titans last year, and was probably one of their like best players. Um, he had some like really good showings on May, on Genji, Farah even. So I think this is an interesting pickup. I don't know how he's going to compare to Alpha E. I do think Alpha E is the superior flex DPS. But yes, like if Teru is what the team thinks is going to help them have more chances in playoffs, then yeah, might as well try it out. Or like another possibility is that they're signing him as a replacement for Architect. Like Architect might just be retiring. I don't know. He doesn't have a stable starting spot. Like he was brought in on the Genji for a couple of matches, but then they brought Alpha E back in once again. So yeah, don't really know what's going on here. But I'm keen on seeing how things work from here on out. And finally, in the APAC region, the Guangzhou Charge have signed Ty Dollar as an assistant coach. Ty Dollar used to be with the Gladiators. I think he was working with Repay, and yeah, now he had no team. Like this season, he had no team, and now he does. So I think it's a good signing in general because Ty Dollar obviously is a Korean coach. Uh, he will be able to communicate well with the team, and he's had results in the league in the past. Like especially we saw the Gladiators rising to be a nearly top tier team. I think Taidola had a significant part in that. So I'm keen on seeing how like if he can actually get the Charge to be more competitive consistently, and it's even more exciting because the Charge have also signed Piggy. Like he was undoubtedly one of the more exciting players on the Outlaws. And then like the whole community was kind of confused and upset when he was let go. But now, yeah, he's back in the league on the Guangzhou Charge, and I do believe it's a bit of a weird signing because the Charge do have Krong already covering those those off tank heroes. I think what they really needed was a main tank because they do not have Rio anymore, which I mean, who wasn't doing them any good anyway. But Piggy is he's an off-tank player as well, right? You wouldn't really think of signing him if you're like, oh, let's get a Winston or a Wrecking Ball or a Reinhardt player, for example. So either way, let's see if he can master those main tanks and cover that, you know, that side for the team. But yeah, both these signings I think are going to benefit the team in some way or the other. So fair enough. Okay, so that's all of the roster moves. Now let's talk about some of the matches that are coming up this week. But yeah, I think it's like worth mentioning that there's been no official announcement of a new patch for the Countdown Cup, which is a bit puzzling because I think it was pretty much confirmed that there will be some Junker Queen nerfs and a few other hero changes. You know, a good old balance patch before the Countdown Cup begins. But there's no sign of it right now. There have been some rumors here and there that they're gonna be like nerfing Junker Queen a lot, buffing Diva and all that. Like I don't really know if any of that is true, but until they announce an official patch, I think we can pretty much assume that there are not going to be any drastic changes. So another thing is that if there were going to be such changes, I think the pros would have hinted at it because they are the ones who are currently scrimming, right? So if at all there's a new patch for the Countdown Cup, they'd better have had it these past couple of weeks. And yeah, if they did have it, we don't know about it. So yeah, either way, I think there are some games that you can set your sights on, mark your calendars, set your alarms for. Um, this coming week, obviously. The first one is going to be, for me, the Toronto Defiant versus the Atlanta Reign, which is going to be on day one in NA. And honestly, there aren't a lot of competitive games in NA this week, at least. Like, when I say competitive, I mean competitive plus, like, played by teams that have shown promise, you know. And as of late, the Toronto Defiant have shown a lot of promise. You know, they had that kind of miracle run thanks to kind of the land buff at their homestand in Toronto during the Summer Showdown. They they surprisingly made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Summer Showdown, of course, where they lost to the San Francisco Shock. But all in all, I think they're looking like a pretty formidable team right now. And assuming that this is going to be the same patch that they'll be playing on in the Countdown Cup, or at least similar, I think they can pretty decisively beat the Rain because the Rain hit quite a slump this past tournament. They didn't even qualify for the playoffs. You know, Kaya wasn't really playing that well. They didn't have a consistent Genji player. Um, Hawk wasn't good at all at Junker Queen, in my opinion. And they did have an inherent brick problem for like more than half of their games, with Ultraviolet being just really uncomfortable on the hero. So I'm still excited for this game because the Rain have this kind of knack of just coming like coming onto the stage, I guess, bringing a lot of confidence and that bad boy swagger, as Nightwing calls it, and then just showing up on days when you don't really expect it. So maybe they can take on the Refined once again because I think for the past couple of years, or for the past many years, honestly, the Rain have consistently been beating the Refined. So it's gonna be fun to watch if the Refined can get like one up the Atlanta Rain and kind of just show them down, you know, because one wouldn't really predict the Defiant to win this match on any other patch. So this is going to be probably the best game from NA in my opinion. And I don't think I really need to talk too much about the best game in APAC this coming week. It's going to be a replay of the Summer Showdown finals with the Seoul Dynasty taking on the Shanghai Dragons once again. They did have a close series with the Dynasty getting 2 maps versus the Dragons 4 maps. Um, so it's going to be a nice grudge match, you know, because these two teams have consistently been the top two teams in APAC for the past couple of years. So yeah, I don't know. Place your bets. Right now, I can't really call the winner of this game. But yeah, that's all about the matches coming up this week. Let's talk a little bit about the playoffs. So the Overwatch League recently, in a blog post, released some additional information about the playoffs and the grand finals. Like I'll just explain it briefly, and I'll link the full article in the description. But essentially, the playoffs are going to be from October 30th to November 3rd, and they're going to be played live at Anaheim Convention Center, which, for those of you that don't know, is where BlizzCon happens. You know, like BlizzCon is hosted over there every single year, or was at least until COVID hit. But yeah, that's pretty exciting because it's a live grand finals with after 3 years. I think the last time we saw live grand finals was in season 2. When the San Francisco Shock utterly dominated the Vancouver Titans in like live in Philadelphia. So it's going to be pretty exciting for the fans naturally. So if you do get to jump in on the action, definitely do so. And the grand finals are going to be on November 4th at Anaheim once again. So do check those out. And as per the information released, there will be 8 teams from NA and 4 teams from APAC playing live at the venue. So I guess even the APAC teams that qualify will be brought in. They'll be going to America, unlike what we've been seeing for these other regional tournaments. So pretty exciting stuff because there's going to be the top 6 seeds from NA and top 3 seeds from APAC, which will receive a direct line to the playoffs, and then the rest of the teams. So I think it's something uh, like 5 or 6 teams from NA, like I guess from the 7th to the 10th place, I think, or 7th to the 12th place. Yeah, 7th to 12th. So they're going to be fighting for the 7th and 8th seed in NA in a double elimination bracket. And in APAC, the top 3 seeds will directly qualify, and the 4th to 6th seeds will fight it out for just the remaining spot, just one spot. And naturally, that means 8 plus 4, 12 teams. It's going to be a classic double elimination bracket. Um, I guess there's going to be 16 matches played. That's how it usually goes. And naturally, the first to three for all of the matches except for the grand finals, which will be first to 4 maps. So that's going to be exciting. And what's even more exciting is that the new hero Kiriko will be available. And like for those of you that have been living under a rock for the past week, Kiriko is going to be the latest hero added to Overwatch 2. She's a support hero, and she's going to be, I guess, this fast-paced, like highly mobile, plus high damage, high skill. So I wouldn't say high skill actually, probably a medium skill ceiling kind of flex support. So just to like give you guys a brief on what she does, so she has these kind of healing talismans that she can auto target her allies with to heal them. Then she can also teleport to allies. So it's kind of like a guardian angel, but it's an instant teleport and it can be used through walls, which is pretty insane. Then she also has like I think it's called a kunai throw, where she's essentially those are just throwing knives, and if those land a headshot, then the critical damage is like much higher than the usual crit. You usually deal double damage on a headshot, but I guess she deals probably 2.5 times. I don't know the numbers yet. We'll have to check those. And the most absurd thing is that she has her own version of the immortality field. So she can just cast kind of like a protection ability thing, and then whoever's hit by it is going to be invincible for a few seconds. I think the difference it has from the immortality field is that first of all, the immortality field is just like it's a projectile and a single cast, so you just throw it and it's going to stay in place and protect people within its range. Whereas this ability is going to be more of like it's kind of going to be like BAP's shift, I guess, if that makes sense. So she uses it. Those who are hit by it are invincible no matter how far they go. So it's not going to be dependent on the distance from any particular object like the field. Once you have that invincibility, you have it for a few seconds. So it's a bit absurd that there's like even more immortality based abilities being added to the game, because that's kind of against what the player base wanted. Anyway, she does have an ultimate where she does cast that mystical blue fox, which everyone's been excited for the past few months, and seemingly that's going to enhance the team speed and damage and cooldowns, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. Actually, let me just look it up. Kitsune Rush. Summon a fox spirit that rushes forward, accelerating the movement, attack speed and cooldowns. Yeah, I was right. Of allies that follow its path. So I guess she just casts it, and you have to run alongside the Kitsune or the fox, and then you'll get buffed. So pretty interesting ability. We'll have to see what the range is on that. But yeah, that's pretty much all that we had to cover today. I did go through it a little bit fast. Um, like it's much easier to have more of a discussion when Nightwing's around as well. But unfortunately, he's indisposed at the moment, so I just thought I'd briefly go over all of these things for you guys, just share my thoughts on it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, and hope you enjoy the games this weekend, and I will see you guys next week, hopefully with Nightwing. Bye bye.